Hello, and welcome back to the Design Plus podcast, where we get vulnerable, dig deep, spill the beans or the tea about all things work, career, designing your ideal lifestyle, and living an unboxed life as a creative, individualist, free spirit type person. I'm your host, career guide, and fellow rebel, Miriam Raquel Sands, Raquel for short. I think that the job, looking at all of this kind of information about quitting jobs, finding the best job, building up your skills, like all of these different topics about work and job and career are really just an entry point to other, like, bigger things like health and wealth and lifestyle, relationships. Like, I think starting with jobs is a good focal point because we all work, or most of us work, and we have experience perhaps in different industries, with, of course, different personalities, different backgrounds in education and trainings, but ultimately we all have experience. It's a universal experience of discomfort, of having to succumb to someone else's wishes and authority, and to let down our perhaps pride or authenticity, being our truest self, in order to put food on the table, have a shelter, pay off debt, in order to do X, Y, Z. And so the job, starting with that as the starting point, as point A, it allows us to start to implement and think about all the other aspects of our lives. How are we, for example, treating ourselves within that job? Because that will probably mirror how we treat ourselves outside of the job, especially in a kind of managing a relationship with authority figures, for example, with the manager. And then that might transfer over having the relationship with a mother, a father, a guardian, someone who we might perceive has more experience, autonomy, authority over us, can perhaps tell us what to do, and has some more control perhaps than we do. So that could be a correlation. It could be two similar relationships, and I'm not saying that they're the same, but I'm just saying that starting with the job, looking at how we look at our jobs, operate in our jobs, how do we find the environment and the places that feel good for us, that fit best. All of those topics and questions can also be applied outside of the work, because really work is like a microcosm, is a mini world of the larger. There's office politics, just like there's real world politics. There is definitely a dynamic with leadership that's more top down, just like in the, perhaps at home, in the family dynamics. The mother, father, parents, whoever, guardians feel that they know best. They have more certain amount of autonomy and authority, and perhaps they don't communicate things that need to be communicated. So we can really see the parallels. So even though I'm not talking about health and how to lose weight, how to lose fat, I'm not specifically giving guidance about all these other areas in life, relationships, intimacy, spirituality, all of that gets impacted, and you can see kind of the mirror image, the parallel between work and relationships, work and health, work and fine, whatever other, fill in the blank bubble that you category in life that you are maybe in the long run looking to improve and enhance and, all of that. Start with work. Start to see how you navigate your work life, because the way you set yourself up to have a difficult conversation with a colleague is maybe a similar way you might navigate having a conversation with a mom, a dad, somebody who maybe an aunt, somebody who maybe you feel not comfortable 100% having a conversation with. Having meetings, feeling prepared, commuting, all of these. There's so many things, office politics, that could happen within a job that mirror our personal lives, all these other aspects of our personal lives that can help us. Something that I've really done, and part of that was getting the project management. I was learning a little bit, took a certification on that for work, but then also being able to apply it in my personal life, creating a calendar, creating in Asana, what is it called? A Kanban board, all these different tools in order to help me out in my day-to-day life. There's only so much I can remember, so much I can track. There's only so much that I can prepare for. And the same at work. I leverage tools. We leverage different websites and things so that we make work easier. It's the same in our personal life. Now, I understand that there is this distinction that at work things perhaps have higher stakes because there's income, there's benefits, insurance. There are certain things that are not as tangible, perhaps, in our personal life. But in our relationships, if we're not, let's say, transferring those leadership skills, for example, or organization skills with our friends, with our family members, okay, we might not lose income with them. There might not be that clear parallel, but we might lose the intimacy, we might lose trust, we might lose having that guidance or that support, emotional, mental, spiritual, who knows, maybe they provide a physical space for us to feel supported, and we might lose that. And that, I would argue, is maybe even more than what the job is offering, because jobs are out there. There's so many jobs, and I'm not saying that we're gonna go out and do XYZ jobs, but what I'm saying is that it is, in that instance, it really isn't apples to apples, because even though we are paying so much attention to our work and making sure that the job is successful and we're getting paid and we're getting benefits and we're feeling fulfilled, but all of that can be replaced. A guardian, a friend, a partner, your health, all of these other aspects of your lives are irreplaceable. I'm gonna say it maybe in a different way. Jobs are not the goal. And I know, or I feel, that in our society, the job is the identity, becomes who we are, becomes all that we are. Because one of the first things people ask when we're meeting someone is, what do you do? Instead of, how do you enjoy life? Or, who are you? Who are you? What do you enjoy doing? What is it that makes you happy? What are your values in life? Like, people don't go deep at all. They're all about what is it that you do, because the minute that I know you're an accountant, you're a designer, you're a business owner, you're a student, you're a whatever it is, the minute I can place you in something that makes sense to me, in a box, in a category, just like going in the bookstore and you're looking for the genres. Oh, I like fantasy, I like this. Now I know where you fit. That now everything makes sense. Okay, so this person's a designer, so they're graphic designer, they probably are artsy, creative, they probably work in an office, they make this much, they've done this. It's very easy then to start to place people in boxes without really getting to know them. Because the job, starting with that focal point, maybe one day I'm a graphic designer. Maybe another day I'm a yoga teacher. Maybe another day I'm a pet walker. I'm a nurse. all these other things. It becomes really hard to place me. It becomes really hard to figure me out and try to understand without really asking me and diving deep what my intentions are, what life I'm trying to live. Because then in being someone who's intentional, in looking at the job as a means, things get interesting fast. Because the minute that I decide the job is just an option, I choose right now to be in this role. Why? Because it allows me to get the benefits in this. But I know that can be replaced and taken away. There's a lot of states, I don't know how many states there are, that are at will, which means in the United States, they don't have to give you a reason to let you go. You go through all this process of looking good on your resume, on your LinkedIn, on your professional portfolio. You do all of the due diligence of the cover letter and making things look good and appeasing others so that you fit in to their category and everything. And then if you get the job, after all of this work, let's say it takes a month, 2 months, depending on the industry, it takes who knows how long, if you have to get a background check, all these other things influence you finally getting that job, disposable job, and they can also dispose of us just as quickly, if not sooner. If something doesn't match up within all of those boxes, the resume, the cover letter, the profile, the portfolio, the interview, without any of those dominoes fitting exactly, stacking exactly as they want it to. And even once you make it through, if something within that role, you're not butt kissing enough, you're not people pleasing, you're not organizing, you're not doing all these other things, they can just like that let you go. And then what happens to the income and the benefits and all of these things that we were really placing value on? They're gone. But the same cannot be said for our relationships, our health, our experiences, our knowledge, our spirituality and faith, the things that we choose. So, what I'm suggesting is to start looking at the job differently. Number one, to look at it as a means to an end, and that just as it is temporary for them, or they see any of us as replaceable and they just need somebody in the seat to do the job, I suggest you do the same. This job is helping me cross this river and helping me buy that house and helping me do this. And also, this is the second piece, this job is giving me skills that I can apply in my life. Like leadership, standing up for yourself. like emotional intelligence and being able to work with different personalities, like organization and strategy, future planning. Like all of these things are intangible and so valuable. They're priceless. These are skills that take time, that are really hard earned, that there's no degree out there, unfortunately, that says strategy, organization, creativity, emotional intelligence, and leadership. Or be a Wonder Woman, be a Superman, be a superhero, be a Marvel DC person. Like there's no, that I know of. I know that there is, I think, some degree that people can learn the language that's in Lord of the Rings, which is, I don't know if that's applicable here, but there's nothing really that is going to show you or that's going to prove to others that you can handle yourself inside a job and outside, and that you are taking the steps to do the job, get the job done, because you know that that job is temporary or that job is serving a specific purpose in your life. It is not, you are not being used by it. You are using it, and you are using it in a way that's productive, that's positive, that really in a healthy way affects your whole life. So I feel like we came full circle with all of that the job, thinking about conversations and exploring all of this about work and work-life balance and all of that. I don't think there's such a thing as a work-life balance, because I feel like work is a part of our lives. So it really is just balancing life. It is balancing all these different areas within life, and work just happens to be a main focal point because we spend so much time in it, doing it, around it. We spend so much time thinking about how to get the best work done, how to be strategic and be perfect and be precise and all of these things. But the moment that you decide that the job is not you, that you are not what you do, that you are able to take these skills and use them in all your other aspects in your life, and that this job is helping you, is of service to you and your community and all the other things that you want to be in service to. This job is just one tool. It's just one thing. It's not the main thing, the biggest thing. It should not be the end all be all, because that's where I think a lot of the pressure and the fear and the kind of holding of the hand, the tightening, all of that pressure eases off once we start to intentionally define these things. And yeah, looking at the job is a great starting point. Like I said in the beginning, look at the job as a way to look at your whole life, as a microcosm, as like one one little Russian doll that's inside of another Russian doll, or whatever those I don't know what those thingies are called, that they're one inside of another. That's what this is. You get to decide which is the bigger Russian doll, or which is the one that's the umbrella that's holding the space and holding all the rest, all the other aspects in your life. You get to decide where to place that emphasis. Is it you're starting with the job? Is it the health that you're really prioritizing that? And those skills and that emphasis, then you start to see how health affects your relationships and then your job. And you can play with this idea in a variety of ways. But I like to start with the job first. And that's why I think I have so many episodes about job and work, and because it's something that's universal, that applies to everyone. And it's also, I think, time to start thinking about it differently, the workforce, because it's not working anymore to just keep enduring, keep holding on, keep grasping it, keep kind of being afraid of losing it, when they could literally let us go at any moment, any time. And yet we're here putting all of our eggs, all of the carrots, all the stuff in the basket with this job, when in one swoop they could take it all away for whatever reason. And I know that nowadays there's much more about equity and inclusion, DEI. There's much more about the outside, the politics affecting work, and letting things be more fair and just, and things are coming to light more. But still, you being able to take control and power and feeling that you can decide, that you don't have to wait for somebody to make a decision about your job or your life. You're not waiting. You get to be the boss. If that's not a segue to listen to my other episode, if you haven't heard it already, about being your own boss. You are the boss. You are the one. And the same, again, applies in your life. You might not feel like you're the boss in your work. You might not be a manager, but you are the boss of your life. And you showing up for yourself that way at work creates that ripple effect, creates that same, you're using that same skill, that transferable skill in your life. You are managing perhaps difficult personal relationships in your family, with your friends. You know how to hold difficult conversations and maybe confront, say some uncomfortable things, because you've already done it in your job. And you know that when your job is not satisfying you for whatever reason, you have an exit strategy, and you have your family and your friends, or whoever, the support that you have for yourself, that you've created for yourself, is there, because that is irreplaceable. That is priceless. And there will be another job that gives you, again, the benefits and the income, or whatever it is that you're looking for at the time. So my message to you is that starting with the job is a good focal point, is a good starting place. It is not the end all be all. You are so much more than what you do or what you happen to be doing at any given time. And you have the choice. You always have the choice of whether to stay, whether to go, how you want to use that job, that opportunity. And you also have the choice of using those skills outside of that job. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. If you liked what you heard and would like to get more insight or support from me, check out my website at miriamraquelsands.com. You can also find me in all of the social places at my handle at miriamraquelsands, or leave a comment down below. Until next time, take a breath, take it easy, love yourself, hug yourself, and be well. Bye.